Our next fellow is Norman Kelly from the School of Law. Norm is a partner in the firm of Norton, Wasserman, Jones, and Kelly in Salina, Kansas, where he has practiced law since his graduation from the Washburn School of Law. In his practice, Norm principally works in the insurance, tort, liability, defense areas of law, including defending against claims, bodily injuries caused by and from farm, home, automobile, or product accidents. He is a member of the Kansas Bar Association, the Kansas Association of Defense Counsel, and the National Association of Diocesan Attorneys. And he has been a board member for the Diocesan Finance Counsel for the Roman Catholic Diocese of Salina from 2015 to present. He was the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops layman representative for the National Advisory Council from 2015 to 2019. He is a member of the Kansas Commission on Judicial Conduct, which assists with the Kansas Supreme Court in its responsibility over disciplinary matters involving judges in all state and municipal courts. He has been identified by peer review for the quality and caliber of his legal work. Norm's children said this: "You've accomplished so much, even if it meant leaving in the middle of the afternoon to travel to a ball game or driving late at night to meet a new grandchild. When we were kids, you made time for all of our activities, and you were always there to support Mom in her work in and out of our home. You've been our biggest fan and most trusted advisor." And colleague Pat Newstrom said, "He is smart, hardworking, conscientious, and has built a very good law practice. He has also been active in our community, helping Salina to become a better place to live." Norm, on behalf of the Alumni Association and the Washburn School of Law, we are pleased to honor you as a Washburn Alumni Fellow.
Thank you for this wonderful honor. I've been reminded that a good acceptance speech is like a comet, dazzling, eye-opening, and over before you know it. So I'll try to follow that. Coming here today, my wife said to me, whatever you do, don't try to be charming, witty, or intellectual, just be yourself. So, okay. Now, more seriously, I want to thank my loving wife, Sherrie, for her unwavering support and always having confidence in me and being positive when I failed or didn't do as good as I should have or hoped. She is a 1979 graduate of Washburn with a degree in history. In fact, we met at Washburn undergrad. I was an AD, like the prior speaker, and she was my next door neighbor at Delta Gamma DG. I'm proud to say that my children and their spouses are here today, including my son Brian and his wife Kay, Jessica and her husband John, and Anne, and also my brother Kyle Kelly. I would note Jessica is a 2013 graduate of the Washburn University School of Law, and my son Brian is a 2016 graduate of the law school. So I thank them all for spending time from their busy day to help me celebrate. I want to thank my original teachers, my parents, my mom and dad, Ross and Maxine Kelly. My dad ran a grocery store in Glasgow, Kansas. My mom was the bookkeeper and a part-time beautician and ran our household. But they taught me from a young age that a lot of things in life would go well if you did your very best every day and if you treated everyone around you with dignity, courtesy, respect, like you wanted to be treated. I wouldn't be here today without the input of a couple of professors in both undergrad and law school I want to recognize. In undergraduate, a professor that comes to mind is a gentleman named Robert Owens. Professor Owens taught a number of business classes and some upper level ones, and I know my senior year, it was some kind of a program where you would go out and meet with either small businesses or minority-owned businesses, and you try to find out facts, come up with a business plan to improve and maybe help their return, make a profit, etc. So you had to meet with Professor Owen in his office, and first time I went in there, I noticed this huge gold medal, and it was kind of intimidating. And So I finally got the courage to ask, what's that for? And he said, well, I won that in the 1960 U.S. Olympics. He was on the hockey team, but he was a very hard-charging, unique individual. But he set a very good precedent that I've tried to use throughout my life, professional career. He expected you to be on time, and to him that meant 10 minutes early. He expected you to be prepared, and if you were going to give advice or if you're going to ask questions, you better have them prepared. You better know what you're talking about. Because he would bluntly tell you, otherwise you're wasting my time and yours, and my time's valuable. So that always stuck with me. A law school professor who comes to mind is Professor Bill Rich. Professor Rich started in law school the same time I did as a professor, and he taught my first year writing class. And essentially through law school and after was a mentor to me. He taught constitutional law at the law school, taught debtors and creditors' rights, a bunch of different classes. But he is a very compassionate, bright individual. He always had time for you. In later years, I could call him on the phone. He'd call you right back if he's in class or something. He could give you excellent, well thought out advice. And he always made you feel important, which is a trait I learned from a number of Washburn professors. He was very qualified in that, I might add, he was an authority on constitutional law, so it was not uncommon for the WIBW or Capital Journal, if somebody needed a quote on a pressing legal constitutional issue like prison overcrowding or something, they would routinely call him and get his quote, and it was always well thought out. I point him out also, it's a small world, and many times there can be relationships you don't even know about. But Professor Rich grew up in Newton, Kansas, and his father was a long-time, well-respected surgeon there, Dr. Eldon Rich. And amazingly, my mother-in-law, Polly Nightingale, who I biasly thought was an excellent nurse, she was a nurse at the hospital in Halstead for like 40 years. She was a nurse for Dr. Rich and had great respect for his medical and surgical skills. So that always impressed me. Doing the right thing, being good at what you do pays dividends. I came to conclude over my many years of practice that the professors at Washburn, collectively and individually, really wanted to hone in and impress upon you the ability to think for yourself, to analyze, to figure out what's going on, cut through the chatter, and as a part of that, to develop communication skills, being able to analyze, but then express yourself, being able to critically write, and that comes with practice, and it comes with failing. But one of their other messages was always, you're going to fail, but get up off the turf, the mat, and do something about it. They also were very important in emphasizing the clients, the people you were going to give your professional skills and service to, were individuals. They weren't a name in another case. And treat them with dignity and respect, and it'll pay great dividends, which I do appreciate. They also, I felt, pushed you and nurtured you to give generously back to the community. We all have special, unique talents, treasures that others don't have. And you, at many times, cost of personal time, personal freedom, but you can give back so much, and that can pay great dividends mentally, physically, but also in your career. At this time, I want to take the time also to personally thank Professor Joseph Mastramoni and Professor Glasshauser. They let me sit in on their tort classes, one yesterday, one today. That's an area I practice in, so it was very interesting. It was a really neat and interesting dynamic to see today's law students compared with my generation, and we didn't have the fancy videos and neat visual stuff, but they were excellent professors. Also, I want to take time to point out, I think the future for Washburn Law School is bright. There's really good leadership, and I have personally been present at events where they're recruiting seniors in college for potential law students. I've seen Dean Jeffrey Jackson, Pat McKessick, Executive Director of Development Alumni Relations, Associate Dean Sean Leisinger, and many others, and their excellent support staff. And I can tell you firsthand from being there interacting, they present a very compelling presentation, a very compelling case. Why a parent, some of these young students, men and women, come with their parents, some don't. But they send a powerful message that we're small. If you can get in, there's small class sizes, there's individual attention. We'll help you. We're not out to send you packing if something goes wrong. And I think that comes across loud and clear. So I commend them and those with law school. They're in excellent hands. The future is bright. You're seeing that with record fall enrollment, with programs like Third Year Anywhere, with their extending the program that they started with the Hansen Foundation for externships, where to get people west of 81 Highway. So they give them a nice, healthy stipend to help pay for some income and lodging, and then they get 6 credit hours. They're going to expand that through the Patterson Group to the whole state. So there are bright and wonderful things going on. The future looks great for Washburn. Congrats, and thank you all again for this wonderful honor.